Going on, Rotogrinders? Dean here at Steen78904. That is daily fantasy handle around the industry. It is 5:11 on the East Coast, 2:11 West Coast, 4:11 Tennessee time. So of course, image time of the flagship show here at Rotogrinders. It is called Grinderslive. It is a 9-game hump day slate, not messing around, full booth, 3 men. Who wants to lead off for us today? Let's say hello to Will. What's up, Chief? How are things in your world? And I know you're just hammering all your props, getting them all organized before the show, and of course, news is sprinkling on through because it's a weird slate in that earlier today, it's like, well, hey, there's no value. Where's the value? Everybody's efficiently priced. And now all of a sudden, there are a ton of value dudes that we'll talk about. That's kind of how it goes down in the NBA, obviously, especially this time of year with a lot of people getting ill. Well, what's up, man? How are things going for you?
Oh, it's going, guys. If you happen to see me writing something down, just hanging there with me. I am fully dialed into this slate. I'm actually really excited to get some DK action tonight, Dean.
Okay.
I'm really excited to get some DK action. I think we've got a lot of options. I mean, it was a big slate anyway, right? But I think we've got a lot of options to make some noise. So I'm loving this slate, actually.
Are you excited?
I'm loving it.
You excited to play Serge Ibaka and like Reggie Jackson and Markieff Morris and these guys? A lot of fun on a 9-game slate, but they're popping.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like Reggie because Reggie's gonna shoot the lights out tonight for us. So I don't mind a little Reggie at all.
Yeah, we'll give the injuries as we go game by game, obviously, but a few of the key ones, a few of the main ones that are kind of worth going out there.
Oh, array body parts.
What's that? Hi, Grant.
Array body parts.
Well, I think it's important to understand from the entire slate, kind of like looking at it, what 30,000 point view, if you want to say it that way. Bam Adebayo, my Miami Heat. We've lost Bam Adebayo with a thumb. He's going to be out for, they're saying, 4 to 6 weeks. So hopefully nothing too long. They are getting Hero back from his general soreness. Jimmy Butler is still questionable with his tailbone. And hey, who's the guy that steps up whenever Bam Adebayo is out? That's Dwayne Dedmon. He's also questionable with an E2. So as always, Miami is going to shape this slate to some extent. We talked about the Clipper cheapies. That's because Paul George is not playing basketball tonight. And OKC is in their full tank mode. They're 2 games ahead of Houston. They're probably nervous about that. And they're facing Houston this evening. So they have a couple guys that have already been ruled out. Well, Baisley's questionable. Muscala out. Favors is out. And Giddey is not feeling well. Just a couple of the main ones. And then we are getting Cole Anthony back for Orlando. And Anthony Edwards and Miles Turner also both questionable too, which can kind of sort of somewhat shape the slate. What's up, Grant? How are things in your world? Any of those kind of tickle your fancy? Anything you're excited about? Anything you're monitoring? Of course, the news almost definitely will break throughout everything. The show.
There are many things that can end up having huge rippling effects across this slate. In this one DFS tout once said, could turn the slate on its head.
What? Oh, metaphorically or literally?
Figuratively.
Oh, before we break it down game by game, I was told in my ear by producer Devin about the. So you guys should be aware. Everybody listening in chat, you guys of course as well. What's up, chat? Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the notifications. So the Google Chrome extensions, I use them for Yahoo. The Rotogrinders Google Chrome extensions, they don't cost you anything. I use them for Yahoo. I use them for DraftKings. I use them for FanDuel. It'll pop up on your screen and it'll give you, if you guys have like RG Premium. If you don't have Premium, we'll give you stuff like ownership, how much you actually have of this person, which is helpful. It's just very nice when you're building your lineups, and it'll give you projections and ownership percentage and expert rankings. Again, different stuff depending on what you have. You have premium or non-premium. Non-premium, you can use it as well. Of course, if you have premium, you get the perks of such things to have it on your screen. We have a new one. Tell us about it as well.
Listen, man, RG extension live right now, not coming to a theater. It's in the theater, folks. RG extension gives you projections right on the screen at underdogfantasy.com. So if you go on underdogfantasy.com, you can go to the Rotogrinders extensions, download it. And what happens here is we can see the projections live on the screen. So you can kind of see where you get an edge and can make some good prop investments, right? I always call them investments. We've got Franz Wagner. I'm just talking through this thing. He's projected for 13.5. I mean, we have a line of 13.5. RG projections suggest he's going to score around 15 points tonight. So what am I going to do? I'm taking, well, absolutely not. Taking the over there. Same thing with Trey Young. Just a couple of things. And Trey isn't big, but we've got him at 26.5. I mean, the line's 26.5. We've got him projected at 27. Let's see some of the larger differential ones, perhaps. We've got Sabonis at 33.5 points, rebounds, assists. RG projections have him at 35. If for some reason Turner sits, that prop's coming down. I'd go ahead and take that one right now.
The number's going to go up as far as the projection.
Yeah. It's going up. Just trying to find some that have maybe a really big differential. And I'm doing this live, and I don't see anything that's completely huge right this minute.
I know if you go on scores and odds will, I'm sure Grant can speak to this as well. If you go on scores and odds, it'll you can rank them from the biggest discrepancy, right, Grant?
Yes, you can. I'm looking at it right now. Got big discrepancies on Christian Wood under, Robinson under, Matthews over, Kennard over, J-Val over, and Sabonis over on points, and Marcus Morris over on points. And fortunately, aka unfortunately, I bet the under on Marcus Morris points this morning before Paul George got ruled out.
So don't worry, you'll get that back. Yeah, there's a discrepancy with Marcus Morris points and rebounds on underdog as well. We've got him projected for 22.06. That's a big one. And underdog has him at 19.5. So I'm plugging these in right now. The Morris, the Jackson. And let's see, I'm going to get the Franz Wagner. All the ones that look tasty, I'm hopping on.
All right. And I'm sure I don't know if Devin can put the link in chat, or maybe it's just go to the Google search bar and hit underdog Rotogrinders extension. I assume that's all you do, and you'll pop up. It'll pop up and you'll find it. Is that how that works, Will?
Pop up, yeah. It'll find you. You don't find it.
There you go. That's the way I did it for FanDuel and DraftKings and for Yahoo. And
it will find you, folks.
All right, let's dive in and break it down game by game. Chat, ask questions, and Devin will compile those. I'll ask these fine gentlemen these same questions later on. More details, the better. Let us know it's for tournaments. If it's a prize picks question, you can by all means ask that. Well, we got Will here. Grant's all with the player props as well too, on scores and odds. I jump in there as well. We're happy to have those conversations too, and we're going to give those out progressively. If anything happens to pop up in a game, I'm sure Will give his favorite prize picks play, and maybe Grant will chime in as far as his favorite player prop as well. So Denver and Orlando, 207.5 is the total. Orlando is an 8-point dog here. Denver super thin once again. Two guys out for Denver with health protocols issue. Austin Rivers, Bones Highland, JaMychal Green's also questionable with his elbow. On the other side, Orlando's getting Cole Anthony back, so some usage will be shuffled back to him, and all the guys that kind of thrived in his absence, I think they take slight hits to some degree. So, Grant, we have Jokic, who's just, Jokic and Giannis on the slate, the two greatest, DFS fantasy players. They're both in awesome positions. The Magic are horrific defensively, just horrific overall. We have Giannis in this incredible game against a poor defense for Charlotte that plays fast. That if that game stays tight, it could be so much fun. I can't wait to talk about that game with Will, because I'm excited to even watch that one. Grant, your thoughts as far as Denver and Jokic versus Giannis. Hypothetically, you can only have one. I know it's more of a DK question than a FanDuel question because of position eligibility and all that kind of stuff. You can roster two centers. But Jokic or Giannis, both look awesome to me tonight. You can have one. Who do you want there, Grant?
Giannis. Jokic is just right after that. No real interest in this game outside of Jokic. And if you want to bring back on it, Cole Anthony was doing work prior to getting injured, 7.9K. Going to go virtually unowned in this spot. If this game ends up staying close, Cole Anthony has a real possibility of putting up 50 points. But this game's just not interesting here outside of those two guys.
Yeah, if less stuff was like
Miles Turner will play.
Okay, so there you go. How do I react to that? I guess you're not betting Sabonis overs now anymore. Probably, I'm guessing you're not. Correct.
I already bet Sabonis over, so now I'm just out of money.
Well, not necessarily. I still think Sabonis will be fine. John Collins can't stop. So I think Turner playing may help him on the offensive side because he won't have to deal with Capella inside most of the game. I like it.
Thank you, Will, for alleviating my depression.
Hey, you're most welcome, man. I'm a man of the people. We don't want you depressed.
I'm just kind of looking through it. Like, yeah, Composite will be kind of sort of somewhat interesting as a cheap start, but we have so much other stuff out there. Monte Morris is kind of sort of somewhat interesting. Like, these guys have to play a ton of minutes. There's a dual revenge game with Gary Harris and Aaron Gordon, but again, hard to get excited. I agree with Grant. Mainly, this game is about the Joker. Love him. I think he's got a decent shot at that triple dub as well. Will, do you have anything else that, like, is there anything that pops for you? You have anything different as far as an opinion in this game? Or is it basically the sentiment that Grant is pushing out there that's essentially Jokic and not much else? Some secondary pieces, but that's basically
on DK because Will Barton is just too expensive. If Will Barton was 6,500, $6K, I'd be very interested. But yeah, excuse me, mainly just Jokic here, and I'm actually going to be kind of building my lineup as we go along. So this is going to be a fun show today.
Let's build it. So you got Jokic in there now, and that's it.
No, I don't have Jokic.
So you got nothing.
Well, I've got some Clippers guys.
Well, you already jumped ahead. That's the last game of the slates.
No. But I'm saying I won't tell you who I have because I'm sure one of these guys, may not be on the list. So
that is going to build up some suspense. Tell you what.
Yeah. So let's do that.
By the way, just an interesting note as far as the slate, it's a 9-gamer, right? 9 games. Clippers play Sacramento at 10:30. The 8th game plays at 8:00. Just
Cole Anthony won't have a minutes restriction.
Look at
reacting to that. And then I haven't checked the player prop market on, to be honest. Is there anything interesting out there, Grant, as far as player props and Cole Anthony?
Not really. They're all about where they should.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Okay. I mean, can we just move on from this game? Is that it? Like, Orlando's playing basketball, but not terribly interesting for anybody.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's do it. Atlanta, Indiana, 218.5 is the total. Indiana is a 1-point favorite. And like you guys just said, I missed the note, but Miles Turner is in. The only person out for Indiana will be Justin Holiday. He's out for health protocol issues. Bogdanovich is out with his ankle, and Cam Reddish is questionable with his wrist. So Atlanta getting a little bit thin as far as their wings, which was kind of like one of their strengths coming into the season. They still have Herter and Solomon Hill. Not that you're concerned playing Solomon Hill. There's Delon Wright. There's Lou Will. There's Gallinari. I don't think this game's all that interesting either from a DFS perspective. I'll throw it to you, Will. You tell me what pops for you, if anything.
Nothing crazy. I will plug this in. There is a promo on Prize Picks tonight for Trae Young. If he hits at least one 3-pointer, they will give you $3 per trade prop up to $30, which basically means you have to have 10 investable parlays with Trae Young in there, and you can get up to $30. So I'm just going to max it out. It's not. I don't need the $30, but it's $30 free dollars. So I want the $30 free dollars.
Yeah, I don't care how much money you have. You take free stuff.
Yeah. So just want to put, and this can be any trade prop: fantasy points, free throw attempts, rebounds, 3-pointers, any one of them. As long as he hits one 3-pointer, you've automatically guaranteed yourself. If you have 10, and I will have at least 10, you've automatically guaranteed yourself $30 free. And let's hope you pick the one that's right. But all in all, yeah.
He's going to hit 3 tonight?
Oh, yeah. For sure.
By the way, I goofed. I apologize when I threw it to you. I'm like, wait, Karis LeVert's one of the best, like one of the better TV players on the slate. I don't know why. He's still kind of priced down too much, 5.4K, and in play on both DK and on Vandal. So, and Brogdon is another guy, especially on DK, he's got a pretty good price. I don't know why I said this game wasn't terribly appealing. I guess I was thinking about Atlanta. Herter could become interesting if Reddish is out. That's sort of where I'm at. Now go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I think Herter is one of those props you just maybe need to play now. Like I said props. I'm sorry. You got to help work with me here, guys. My brain's in two different modes all day. But I do think on Prize Picks, I think his fantasy point prop is around 21.5 or something low. It's lower than it usually is. So I would probably get on that now. And if he goes under, he goes under. But, now's the time to get on him. At any rate, I'm not really interested in Atlanta outside of Herter. I think he's kind of the big piece. And then on the Indiana side, I don't want to play anybody. Like, I don't even want to play LeVert. Like, I just feel like he's in this weird. It's a weird spot for LeVert right now until I think he gets completely healthy. I still don't think he's completely healthy, and I know it was more internal than external, but something still feels off. And maybe it's because he's playing with a lot more talent around him, like Brogdon and Duarte's shooting a bunch of shots, and Turner's going to shoot some shots. And DeMont, I don't feel good about LeVert, and I don't feel good about this ownership at 35%. Like, I'm willing to fade him on a slate this big.
I will say he's got a usage of 27% this season, which is really positive. It's better than Brogdon, better than Sabonis, best on the team. But his true shooting is rough at 48%. So he hasn't been spectacular, but he is still getting 0.94, 0.93 fantasy points per minute, which is fine. But like you said, he's going to be super popular. And like we saw last time, he crashed for sure. But, he's probably a cash game play if nothing else. Grant, what are your thoughts?
Brogdon and LeVert are fine if you want to stack this game up, bring it back with Trae Young. Or I don't like the price tag on Capella, but he's been absolutely crushing recently. They'll need him for a bunch of minutes in this spot, and it's equal money. I could see either of them going off for a decent game, but let's talk about some interesting games. First two are not interesting.
I'm not selecting them specifically. I'm not starting with those. Those are like the appetizer games. It's just that's
you don't have to spend so much gosh darn time on them.
Yeah, we talked about, we kind of referenced that Clipper game. That's one of the more important games. You should probably knock that one out somewhere in the middle, just so we make sure we save enough time to talk about the Clippers and Sacramento.
All the later games, so stop spending too much time on these ones.
Well, okay, Minnesota is playing against Washington, right? We can do this one fast. 216 is a total. Minnesota's a 5-point dog here. Minnesota does have a bunch of guys that are currently questionable. Some matter more than others. They're all ill. Every single one of them is questionable for illness. That's Anthony Edwards. That's the most important piece. Second most important piece is Jared Vanderbilt, Jalen Noel, Jaden McDaniels, guys that might get a few minutes here and there if those guys are out. Sort of an if-then here for you, Grant, I suppose. But if they're all playing, I'm not interested really in anybody in Minnesota. Of course, if you're running 150, by all means, if you want a piece of Russell, you want a piece of Cat, sure, fire it off. Cat's got a nice price on FanDuel, but nothing really says you have to play anybody here.
Yeah, no, if they're all in, then there's a full-on fade for me. I have no interest in anything in this entire game if Edwards ends up playing and everyone else ends up playing. If Edwards ends up missing, it's definitely a more interesting spot. It definitely gives a huge uptick to both Cat and D'Angelo Russell, who are very much in play. Cat's very good play over on FanDuel. If Vanderbilt ends up missing, and who was the other one? Well, I can't remember. McDaniels? No.
Yeah, Jaden McDaniels. And like Jalen Noel is not a big deal, but he's just on the list. So I just.
Yeah, well, it's just minutes for lower. Like, it doesn't really affect the high price guys. Like, both Towns and Russell are entirely dependent on if Edwards plays. And Vanderbilt, everyone else, it kind of can open up some stuff. You could potentially get off the chalk later on in the Clippers game by going with Naz Reid. If Vanderbilt ends up missing, potentially he gets a little bit more run. You could take a few of the cheaper guys. Beasley is even still in play if Edwards end up missing and all those other guys end up missing, just because he's going to play over 30 minutes. He can get hot shooting. But predominantly, this is all the Edwards news, and I have no interest in Washington.
Yeah,
outside of Gafford, maybe a little.
I've seen a little bit of love for Beal, a little bit of love for Kuzma, but I don't need those guys, I don't think. And whatever, if I land on them, I suppose, but certainly not seeking them out. Will?
Yeah. Not really interested. Gafford, I think Gafford does have some appeal to me today, just because this team, the Minnesota Timberwolves, are one of the highest. They give up some of the highest rebound rates in terms of opponent rebounds. So I think for that reason, I do like Daniel Gafford if he could kind of get going. He's also 4,800. I think he's a good pivot away from some of the other guys that we may see. We've got him projected at 9%. He's only center eligible. So, and I don't really hate that on this slate because I can play Giannis in another spot. So I I like it.
I'm moving on. I think we're moving on.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Yeah, we want to speed through this one, and we want to get through as many questions in the chat as well.
Yeah,
as
we
possible.
do.
Never like rushing
Absolutely.
through those. Fire those off. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Turn on notifications, and whatever you want us to elaborate on. If we missed somebody, or why'd you like this guy, or why don't you mention so and so? Ask us, and we'll elaborate. We're happy to do so. Answer those end of the show. My Miami Heat. They are 3-point favorites at home versus the Cavs. That's such a low number, isn't it? 206 is the total. Well, partially because Bam Adebayo, he's going to be out for a while. He's out with his thumb for about a month or so. We are getting Tyler Hero back from his general soreness, but Jimmy Butler has got a tailbone, therefore he's questionable. And the presumed guy that would step right in for those Bam Adebayo minutes, at least a good chunk of them, not all of them, is Dwayne Dedmon. He's questionable with his knee. On the other side, Jetty Osman is out with his back, and Dean Wade is out with his calf. Well, I mean, this is if-then stuff, right? Well, like, I guess that's the conversation.
I can't touch this game unless I know what's going on with Jimmy Butler. And I think that's the most important thing, right? Because if Jimmy Butler's out, then Robinson's in play, Lowry's in play, Hero, my gosh, he's in play. Dwayne Dedmon is probably already in play. And then that's also going to open it up, I think, for this game to be a little bit more competitive. So now I might get a little bit more interested in guys on the other side. Jimmy Butler is an important piece of this game. But if Jimmy's in, I probably don't want to play hardly anybody. If he's out, Lowry, Hero, Dedmon, Robinson, they're all in play.
If Jimmy's in, I want to play some Jimmy.
Yeah.
Grant, jump in.
I don't know, man.
I mean, this match versus Cleveland, it's not really a great one without Bam in there, though. He should get an increase in usage. He's been crushing it recently at times, and if Bam's not in there, they pretty much need him for the offense. So we could see another one of those close to triple-double games that Butler ends up playing. If he doesn't end up playing, then yeah, it's Hero, it's Lowry, it's Robinson. Probably Dedmon gets another uptick, but he's already a pretty decent play at 3.1K. If you need to spend down, he's going to be very chalky. So I think it is worth it just to kind of fade him at his current ownership. But Hero, Lowry, Robinson, I think you have to have one of those pieces pretty much in all your lineup if Butler ends up missing, just because the usage hole without Bam and without Butler, even going up against a tougher Cleveland defense and slower paced Cleveland team, I think it's something where one of them is going to go off for a big game, probably two. Hero's the most likely candidate, and he should be a guy that you should have a lot of ownership in if Butler ends up missing, but that's pretty much it. We don't know anything until the Butler news ends up coming out. Vanderbilt will play. Anthony Edwards will play. Cam Reddish ruled out.
Okay, so Herter. I think Herter becomes a little interesting for Atlanta. Yeah?
Not on this slate with so many other viable salary savers.
In the pool, if you're making 150, like if you're making 20
if we're making 150, I'm still probably not taking a single share of them.
You hate Kevin Herter, man. Every time I mention him, you're like, nah, I don't want that guy.
Yeah, it's almost like he doesn't ever do anything.
Almost like he played 38 minutes last game, and they're really thin.
Wait, Dean, how many fantasy points did he end up with last game?
I don't know, but he had opportunity.
15.
I don't care about the result. I care about how many shots did he take?
13.
Okay.
Hey, what was that news again? Oh, Cam Reddish is out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, let me get this prop in
but
now.
You can't play Herter. Grant says you can't play him.
Not on this. There's so many valuable.
No. I'm taking a fantasy point prop. He's at 21.5.
Yeah.
FanDuel score.
That's slightly low.
Take the over on that.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing.
All right. And what was the rest of that, Grant? The Minnesota news you had?
Edwards and Vanderbilt will play, so full on fade the Minnesota game.
Yeah, that's kind of
honestly, you're fine fading the first 3 games outside of Jokic.
Yeah, that's not the worst idea, just to kind of buy yourself more information, and just the way the condensed slate is. But yeah, and if I just need time to make lineups and I'm scrambling, I'm okay. Like crossing out Orlando, crossing out. Yeah, there's some pieces there for sure, but I think like you said, there's plenty of good stuff on layaway that's coming up. I took a peek at our if-then stuff for Miami, by the way. Just thought it was worth pointing out. What are the things you guys get with RG Premium? How do you get RG Premium? You get $10 off your first month. Click that link in chat. You can get just NBA. You can get all the sports, $10 off either way. And the biggest beneficiary percentage-wise is Robinson, but I mean, Duncan Robinson's just going to do what he's going to do. Like, he's just going to shoot his threes. If he makes them, he's good. If he doesn't make them, he's not good, and doesn't do a heck of a lot else. But Hero, we're seeing a percentage bump of 16%. Projection would be 41 points on DK, 38 and change on FanDuel. Lowry gets a 6% bump up to 38 points on DK, 36 on FanDuel. And Dedmon would be around 24, 25. That's under the assumption that Dedmon plays. He is questionable, but Robinson can also be replaced by guys like Strus and Martin and Vincent. And I don't think he's an automatic, like, well, this guy's going to all of a sudden he's just going to do what he's going to do. He's going to shoot his 10 threes. If he makes 7, he's a good play. If he makes 2, he's not. That's how he goes.
12 threes.
Say it again.
He might shoot 12 threes.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can run through every number.
He might shoot 13 threes. Is that possible?
He might.
What about 14? 14 threes. Is that possible?
No, he's not going to shoot 14.
No, I was expecting this to go on for a while, like Dwight and Jim talking about when the apocalypse is going to be.
Pete and repeat were in a vote. Pete fell out. Who was left?
Next game.
Repeat.
We don't have time to keep this going. It's a 9-game slate.
He had to keep saying it. Was so funny. Pete, repeat. We're in both. Pete fell out. Who was left? Repeat.
So
Pete, repeat.
What did I start? I think Jared Allen is kind of sort of somewhat interesting here without Bam. You know, we know Bam's a solid defense. Without Bam's, the Heat is a solid defense, and Bam's a good part of it. And especially, oh boy, one of those 3 dogs is not like you, Grant. Does anybody?
Darn Amazon! I thought I'd be good that I had 4 packages delivered today.
Oh well, that'll do it every time. Yeah. So Jared Allen as like a concern. I don't think people are playing him at all. You know, but he can drop that 20-20, and without Bam and potentially without Dedmon, I don't know who slows him down. Like I guess PJ Tucker, he's got some girth as well too. But talking about the Cavs here, Will.
I mean, I wish some of these guys were still a little cheaper. Like, man, I wish I could get Laurie at 55, and I wish I could get Allen at 75. I wish I could get Mobley at like 58, and that's just not happening. So Jared Allen is 8,100, and he should be fine. I mean, we just saw him drop 50 against Dallas, but I don't want to pay 8,100 for him today. Laurie Markkinen has been playing fine. He just dropped 40 against Dallas. I don't want to play Laurie at this price. Evan Mobley had another good game, 27 against Dallas, 37 the game before. I'm out on the Cavaliers, Dean. They're just, everybody's priced efficiently. I'm not wasting any investable dollars into the Cleveland Cavaliers today.
I'm just saying we're looking at 3% ownership for Allen on FanDuel, and he's 7.7K. He really can get going.
Oh, well, I'm on DK, so you know that.
Oh, yeah. But I think on
he's
DK,
8,100.
And he's also, I think just the way he plays, he's better. He's a better FanDuel player, you know, if he gets going for those stocks, right? And he's not going to hit threes. So
what about that double-double, Dino?
Well, yeah. Well, you know what? This is a good question. Russ Westbrook is like the worst. Like he's much better on DK than he is on FanDuel just because of the way his game works.
Yeah, because he's going to get that quadruple double.
I want to see now. We break it down. I'm going to assume Allen scores more fantasy points per minute on FanDuel. This is my assumption. Let's see if we're correct. I'm scrolling through. Let's see. Allen scores, oh boy, 1.1 on FanDuel, 1.11 on DK. So I was wrong. There you go. Egg on my face.
There you go.
Technical by a pinch, but I was wrong. Grant, Cavs, anything?
No.
Dynamite dropping.
No, I'm just doing the numbers on how old Hammer is in chat.
What do you mean? Oh, my pay. What's going on in chat?
Oh, he was born in 1956.
You're an accountant. You can't do that number fast.
Oh, I could. It's 46 plus 21.
65? Hammer
46 plus 21. I mean, it depends on when he was born.
I thought for sure he'd be born in 74. It says Hammer 74.
No, that's the year he graduated high school.
Ah, good. Yeah, there we go. Well, you're way ahead of me in the chat. Hey, I got a catch me up game. At least I think I do. 206.5 is a total for Philadelphia at Boston. Boston is a 3-point favorite. And, you'd think there'd be somebody interesting here, but Philadelphia is healthy for the first time in forever. Boston, they're healthy too. Robert Williams expected to play with his illness.
And I want none of them.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to get it out there and set the table, and you'll feel free to knock everything off.
We have 3 big games to talk about. 4, actually. Maybe
this is
3.
wasting time, right? Pointing out there are three games is wasting time. We have.
I like Embiid today, for what it's worth.
If we skip this game, they didn't talk about Philadelphia, Boston. What's wrong? These guys, they're not professionals.
I did. I said don't play any of them.
Yeah.
And I'm saying play Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid goes for 60 today. Hot take.
Is 60?
As
As a matter of fact, 65.
There you go. That's
Joel Embiid for 65 today.
Here's the thing, Will, and I know it's
28 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, 2 steals.
how many turnovers? Just look at the math correct.
4.
So, Will, here's the thing. If he puts up 60, like, that's good, but you don't need it, I don't think, because like Giannis is out there and Jokic is out there, and there's some other guys are going to put 55s and 60s as well. It might be a little bit cheaper.
Trust me, nobody on this Boston team is stopping Joel Embiid today.
I'm not disagreeing. I just think it's an interesting conversation to have. Like if you're going to roster Jokic and Giannis, they kind of need to put up like 65 for it to really matter.
I said 65.
All right.
Let's hey, I don't want to waste time in this game. So while you do that, I'm going to tally up how many points Joel Embiid is going to have tonight.
Well, that's wasting time too.
No, we're going to move to the next
it in his
game.
mind, Dean, while we talk. Pay attention.
well, you just keep going, and I'll do it whenever. I'll put it out there whenever.
Will, I don't want you to, well, you can do what you want. You're an adult, but I want you to talk about this Charlotte-Milwaukee game, which is just going to be amazing. Charlotte's become my favorite team just to watch from just like NBA League Pack. Get rid of Plumlee has really been helpful. Just really open that team up. They're playing faster. Their defense is horrific. It's just a lot of fun. 230.5 is a total. That's a monster number. Charlotte only a 9.5 point dog here, so hopefully they keep it close here. Will, we talked about Joker before and great matchup versus Orlando, but I think this is even a better matchup. Charlotte horrific defensively, and they play fast, and if Giannis can play 33, 34, 35 minutes, triple dubs on layaway, is it not?
Yeah, I like Giannis. I mean, he's one of my favorites on the day. I'm playing Joel Embiid though. And I've got Joel Embiid projected for 64 fantasy points for what it's worth. At any rate, but Giannis is the top player on the slate. The Hornets can't stop a nosebleed inside. Look at all the games. Vooch, who couldn't get going against anybody, but plays Charlotte and he's pretty much dropping 50. It's going to get ugly for Charlotte dealing with Giannis today. Giannis should have anywhere from 65 to 70 fantasy points here. So I like the spot a lot for him. But he's about the only person I want to play from the Bucks. I mean, Drew Holiday at 6,900 is still very fair. I don't feel like I need Middleton at 74, but I guess Greek and Holiday for sure.
I don't think I've rostered Middleton all season long. Like, I'm pretty sure I haven't rostered him once.
And he hasn't been in any winning lineups, I'm sure.
I mean, I would maybe tonight, but I don't think you need it. I love Portis. Portis got double doubles on layaway for sure. A Boogie, by the way, got signed by Milwaukee. I don't know if he's playing tonight. I can't imagine if he does. He plays many minutes, but he's not fantasy relevant just yet. He'll be fantasy relevant when we see like Giannis sit and Portis sit and Lopez sit, and all of a sudden we'll get 18 minutes of Boogie. It'll be fabulous. Jump in here, Grant, because I love this game environment. It's just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Drew and Giannis should end up crushing here. I mean, Giannis is very expensive, but it really doesn't matter going up against Charlotte. I mean, they have close to 120 team total. And as we've seen with Charlotte before, that's sometimes a little bit low for opposing teams. They could easily end up with a just massive game here. This is the best game environment. Assuming the game stays close, he should be in for probably one of the bigger fantasy totals we've seen for the majority of the year. Just whether it's going to stay close or not. They're currently 9-point favorites. Giannis is currently projected at 25% ownership. I have no problem playing him, but I prefer it if it stayed close. And I don't have anyone I want to bring back on Charlotte. I'm still going to play him. I still don't like it, but realistically, like between him and Joker, both of them are about the same likelihood of a blowout. So you have so much value on the board where you pretty much need to spend up for one guy in all likelihood, unless you're doing something a little bit different, which I'm going to try and do. But yeah, Giannis should absolutely crush here. And Drew is sitting at 6.9K. Nice. Is just too cheap here. I already bet the over on his points. I think I bet the over on his assists. I think both of those are pretty solid overall bets. He should end up.
You bet the over on Rozier, right? Didn't you write him up in scores and odds? Was that you?
Yeah, I did. I bet the over on Rozier 3-pointers. I bet the over on Rozier points. I got Rozier plus 25 plus points. I got Rozier 30 plus points. Rozier's been on absolute tear lately. He would be the one guy I would think about bringing it back with, just because of how hot he's been recently and how much he's been chucking the ball. There's going to be a decent pace game. It's going to be a high scoring game. And there's always a chance that later on in the game, they need to come back and Rozier's just going to be shooting from beyond the arc over and over again. But I don't have a ton of interest. I did more at the beginning of the day, but now with all the other things that have opened up, he's strictly a guy that I'm bringing back as someone to hope that the game stays close here.
Our projections currently right now, DK specific, 34 minutes for Giannis, 59 and change as far as his points. Jokic right under that, 34 minutes and 56.67. So our projections slightly like Giannis, Ward, and Jokic is a little bit more than as well. We also have, I mean, it doesn't seem very important, but Cody Martin is questionable for Charlotte, but that rotation could get really, really tight. What did they do last game? Who's the big man they started last game? Nick Richards started the game for no particular reason. It didn't really concern me, but he played 6 minutes or something really low. And then PJ Washington, they played small here. I think he's kind of sort of somewhat interesting. LaMelo, not just great matchup, but always capable of hitting that triple double as well. Are you running it back with any of your Hornets? Do you have a favorite Hornet tonight? We've seen Oubre get loose lately as well, and he can get going in a small ball game.
I've been talking about Oubre all season, but nobody wants to listen. But you just have to keep playing him. I mean, every night he gets 30 minutes. It's pretty much 25 to 35 fantasy points. So I like him a lot.
Just pulling up our projections, trying to see what we have as far as the Charlotte side. Gordon Hayward is our most popular Hornet, which just seems weird. That's price, I assume. 6.3K on DK at 8.7%. It's like nobody is really projected there. Bridges at 3.8%, Rozier at 3.2%, Ball. I mean, it's a Ball's at 10-4. It's just, if that's your one big spend, it's hard to justify. But of course, we've seen him get there. I think Washington's interesting at 5-1. He can get loose. He can get a double-double. He can hit some threes. And if he's not starting, I'm still not freaked out. I don't know if they're going to start him or not today. I don't know how much it matters, but that Richards thing was weird. You got anything else to say here, Will, regarding this game, or shall we move on to the stench that is Houston OKC?
Let's move it on.
Yeah, two teams that would rather lose. Houston versus OKC, 216 is the total. OKC is a 3-point favorite here. And we do have some interesting cheapies in OKC. DJ Augustine and Jalen Green are out for Houston, whatever. But Darius Baisley is questionable with his elbow. Josh Giddey, which is a big one, he's out, not feeling well. And some of their bigs, the Moose, Mike Muscala is not playing. He has an ankle. Derek Favors is not feeling well, so he's not playing. I think there's some real opportunity here, Grant. I don't know who it's necessarily going to be, but we've seen Isaiah Roby, a guy we played last year. he's like the Stone Min almost, 3.4K. If he can somehow weasel his way into 25 minutes, if Baisley's out, that would certainly benefit. Trey Mann is a person who is a decent fantasy point minute player as well, and not this great shooter, like as far as usage so far. But if he gets run, he's willing to chuck. He's 3.5K. Of course, there's SGA. And the other side, we have, Tate's a nice little mid-tier guy, and Wood and KPJ went nuts in this last matchup as well. There's a lot going on in this game. I think the most interesting stuff, if you can kind of guess the right cheapie on OKC, I don't know who that's going to be, but I think it could be Roby, or Mann, one of those two.
I think Mann's the most likely one, but I don't mind playing Roby either. I love these mid-tier spend ups in this game. And I actually really like Dort. I think without Giddey in there, Dort's probably going to end up shooting the ball a decent amount more. I think that this game is real, according to our projections, real underprojected. I like stacking up this game. I mean, we did it a lot the other night. Didn't turn out the way we wanted because only SGA, Kevin Porter, and Wood ended up going off. Giddey and Dort ended up having a bad game. But without Giddey in here, there should be an increase in usage for either Dort or Mann coming in here and playing a whole bunch of minutes and putting up a whole bunch of points. I'm going to stack this game up quite a bit. Makes it easy just to throw in SGA and then Porter Jr. and Wood and then figure out a fourth piece. I really like it. I'm going to do it a ton. I did it the other night. Did not turn out well. Thank you, Sabonis and Valanciunas, for going off for ridiculous games.
Sabonis was like 45% owned in DK, and I'm like, man, he was on the fringe for me, and I didn't get him, and I thought
Hero will play. Jimmy Butler ruled out. Jaylen Brown will play. So play some Hero.
Gosh.
Okay, forget about Boston.
The slate just got turned on its head.
So wait, it was on its head before, so now it's back on its feet?
No, it's on its head and it's turning. It's turning again. Now it's at a different angle.
It doesn't flip. I thought it goes like it just turns.
Your body is upside down, and your head is now looking at an entirely different angle.
Dean, you know I'm plugging in props, so just bear with me here, brother.
Grant, this is the slate, right? This is Nitro, by the way. Can you see?
I mean, I got so
his arm
many.
broke. Don't ask me how.
Gosh,
It was like this, Grant, and now you're saying it's like this or like this.
I'm trying to place bets, Daniel.
yeah, Dean's the only person that doesn't take advantage of this stuff.
Well, because I have the stupid Hard Rock app, and they barrel over this. They suspend every game when news breaks within 12 seconds. They have whoever works for them has the quickest finger.
I don't know if you know this, but most sites do that, so that's why you got to be super quick.
No. I'm telling you, it's whatever speed you're the guy at the Hard Rock is the best guy in the business. He's got a very particular set of skills, and his skill is hitting that suspend
Dean, I don't
button.
know if you know this, but I've been dealing with this for years. There's a reason. Well, for a year and a half.
I know. Yes.
There's a reason why I'm signed in at the points board every single time.
Okay.
You have to, like, you say 12 seconds. That's normally how much time I get. You immediately, as soon as you get the news, like I have a reflex now where as soon as I feel my phone vibrate, I click on the DK Sports Bet or Sportsbook page, immediately sign in while looking at my phone. Dwayne Dedman will play.
Yeah.
And
Hero's going to play. Dedman's going to play. Butler is out. Jaylen Brown is in. And the Jaylen Brown note, the Robert Williams note is that he'll have his minutes monitored, but we don't care about Boston anyway. We're just crossing him out.
Yeah.
Schroeder is available too. Yeah, as far as I'm trying to give you guys some time, give Will some time as well too. And let's kind of run.
Yeah,
down.
thank you for that.
Let's talk about Dallas, New Orleans.
You got to give me 10% of the cut though, man. I'm a team player here. So as far as fantasy points per minute in OKC, like Trey Mann, again, he has a nice usage at 22%, which is fine, but his true shooting is at 51%, which is not great. Like Poku's at 40. Yeesh, Poku, that's terrible. Baisley at 43. Oh, it's almost like his OKC team is terrible. All right. So yeah, Mann is still averaging 0.83, 0.85 fantasy points per minute. Obviously not this massive sample. And Baisley still may get ruled out as well. So this is an OKC team that would like play 10, 11, 12 dudes and just like, it's just a mess. But some of them, enough of them fall into the wayside where I think they become interesting. And Roby, if Roby gets some run, he's a good fantasy point minute player. 0.96 on DK per minute, 0.96 as well on FanDuel. And if we can somehow get 24, 25, 26 minutes, let me pull up Roby's box score from last game because I believe, I think he thrived last game. I think it was the last game. Yeah, he played 27 minutes, 17 and 5, got a couple stocks as well too. And, that'll get the job done at 3.4K for sure. There's a chance he gets those 27 minutes again. And for whatever reason, he was in the doghouse earlier this season, but either he's out of it or like they kind of have the plan because there's nothing else anyway. So throw him out there. Even Boucher played a couple minutes yesterday for Toronto. Yeah. Will, I don't know if I gave you enough time, but
yeah, you did. I think they finally got me. Like I was putting them in and then finally you'll know on Prize Picks when they let you get it in because you won't see it won't load. Like you'll think you have it and then it's just frozen. So
great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie.
I think it goes the soundtrack.
Let it go.
Grant, it's not a joke. Like sometimes you'll log in here and Grant will be rocking out like to the Frozen soundtrack as we're jumping in the room. It's like,
yeah, not Frozen 2 though.
Oh no, that soundtrack is horrendous. I'm sure. Moana, I think, is your favorite. Like the Rock movie, is that what it's called?
I mean, Aladdin's my
Let
favorite.
it go. Let it go.
Grant,
wonderful voice. Well,
Grant, give me your favorite player on the Rockets. Your favorite player in OKC.
KBJ and SGA.
Do you still like Wood though?
I like Wood. I've got Wood.
Yeah. And you like Dort as well too as a mid-tier guy, right?
The Dorcher chamber, that is correct.
Yeah. Garrison Matthews is still a person, but like he's been priced up a little bit. And
I like the over on his points prop.
What is it, like 12, 13?
12.5.
I nailed it. I should work for a book.
No, you did. You were off by 5.
No, I said 12. I said 12, 13. What's the middle? Grant, seriously.
You gave me 2 answers, Daniel.
Yeah, and I get you're an accountant. You can bust out your calculator. You can't figure out the mean of that. Will, do you have a favorite play on each side of this game? Houston, OKC.
Houston,
considering salary and all that good stuff.
Yeah. KPJ and Christian Wood for sure. And then on the OKC side, probably Dort and SGA because I'm just unsure about everyone else. hopefully this game stays close.
The chat's like, why are you freaking out about Butler? We assumed he was out. I didn't assume he was out. I didn't know.
No, it was 50-50. Like if we assumed he was out, he would have been ruled out when Bam got ruled out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, listen, this is all about props for me. Like I got to rush and get my props in. So if it looks like I'm freaking out, I'm not. I'm just focused on the group of players that I knew I was going to pair together if the news broke my way. That's it.
All right. The second to last game on the slate. We were making good time somehow, by the way. We're going to have plenty of time for questions.
Because I keep telling you to skip games.
No. I made the executive decision to skip Boston and Philadelphia.
After I told you.
No. That was the plan all along. It was in the noggin. All right.
Sure.
Dallas and New Orleans. I don't tell you everything. It's on my, I lay out the whole plan.
You say everything that's on your mind at all times. You talk a lot.
Trust me, there's some stuff I'm holding back on.
Yeah, I really don't want to know what else is going on there. Pretty sure we get shut down by YouTube if you just said it all.
Dallas at New Orleans, 216.5 is the total. New Orleans is a 4-point dog as far as the body parts, as far as who's in, as far as who's out. We are going to get Porzingis back with his ankle. WCS is out for personal reasons. Ntilikina out with a calf. None of that really matters. As far as New Orleans, I think I forgot to write this down. Josh Hart is questionable though, right?
Yeah.
I write these things down and every once in a while I'll miss something. I just like to write it down so it's in my head. I know I could just.
Yeah, we're going to get some Herb Jones.
No. 9-game slate.
Nope. A 9-game slate with a ton of value now.
Herb Jones.
Listen, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. Jesus.
What is this player prop? Is he like 7? How about 7?
No,
8?
I don't even think he has one.
Yeah, that's disrespect.
Herb Jones.
That's a Mike Jones reference?
Yes.
Okay, it took me a second. All right. Yeah, so Josh Hart is questionable. Good rebounder, obviously. Grant, New Orleans, Dallas. Who do you like in this game?
No one. Luka, you can use as a pivot off of Jokic or Giannis, but you're not getting as much of a decrease in ownership where it's really worth it. Ingram really isn't going to give you a ceiling. I know this usage has been there, but he's just not actually putting up a ceiling on any given night. Graham has been dreadful. Valanciunas is now too expensive. I know that he went nuts in the last game, but there's not every game where you're going to end up going 7 for 7 to start from the game from behind the arc. Just not going to happen. So 9.2K is just far too high. Porzingis at 8.2K is too high. Like there's no real good spot here and there's no good slate breaking possibilities. Plus there's always a chance of a blowout, even though it is being played in New Orleans. New Orleans is bad. I think that this game doesn't end up staying close. If I were to bet on the spread here, I would bet Dallas -4.
If Hart plays, I don't hate that 5.5K price on DK. Not seeking it out, but if that's my last man in, like it's at small forward, I'm okay with it. I'm good with that. And I'm okay with Ingram, but yeah, I kind of
moving on to Sacramento at the Clippers because we don't have much time for questions.
Will, do you want to? Will's here too. Well, did you have a thought besides Herb Jones and Mike Jones?
No. I do like Brandon Ingram at 7,500. I like that price.
Okay. Do you want to talk about? Let's start with the hammer. Let's do it. Kings, Clippers, and yeah, we'll have time for the chat questions as well. Plenty of time for sure. 214.5 is the total in this game. The Kings are 6-point dog, and yeah, there's a lot of body parts we got to sort. No Harry Barnes for Sacramento. Marvin Bagley's not playing; he's ill. Maurice Harkless is questionable with his knee. Not somebody you're considering rostering, but he will eat some minutes. As far as the Clippers, Paul George, big deal, not playing basketball tonight. Nick Batum continuing not play basketball, and they are getting Marcus Morris with an old knee. He is back from his rest. So, Grant, this is where like the Clipper value pops, and I don't know how comfortable some of it is. Like Ibaka in the year 2021 and Morris.
Ibaka's not great.
Yeah, and Reggie Jackson is like, he's not like cheap, but he's 6K and he should.
And he's getting a huge amount of usage and now get a usage bump. I mean, the guy's been putting up like 9 3-point attempts a night. Now there's no Paul George. He's going to be more involved. He's going to get more dimes. He's going to end up with a whole lot more points. I mean, Reggie Jackson is going to shoot. He's going up against a fast-paced Sacramento team that's really not that great defensively. Clippers have been pretty solid defensively, and they haven't run as much of a pace. But without Paul George in there, it makes it a whole different situation with him being one of the best defenders in the league. So you get rid of the guy that has one of the highest usages in the league, and now you have not a single player over 6K on the Clippers. Mm-hmm. And you have guys that are going to play a whole bunch of minutes. So Jackson, Morris, Bledsoe, Mann, Kennard. I'm not a fan of Ibaka on this slate. All of them are good plays. I already bet the over on both Kennard and Reggie Jackson's points. Kennard sitting at 12.5. Reggie Jackson is sitting at 20.5. Both of them are solid plays. On the Sacramento side, me too, is 3.8K without Barnes, without Bagley. He offers a good amount of value here. He's pretty solid when he's actually in the game and should be close to 30 minutes in the spot if this game stays close. But by far my favorite play over on Sacramento, and I think a very overlooked play on this slate, is going to be Richaun Holmes, who played 33 minutes last night. No, it's the second of a back-to-back, but I think he could be in for some decent amount of run in this spot here. He's going to be shooting. He should get a double-double here, and he's priced at just 5.8K after going for 44 points last night, and is projected for low single-digit ownership over on FanDuel and under 10% over on DraftKings. I think he's a great guy to throw in there, because if you're playing some Clippers value, then you're hoping this game stays close, and if it does, Holmes is probably going off for a pretty decent game.
I love that Holmes price, and it's an interesting point because the center position on DK, you're not necessarily rostering Giannis there, but you can roster Giannis. You can roster him at center if you want. Roby, we talked about. Ibaka, we talked about as a potential cheapie. Just the whole slew of centers like Valanciunas, and there's so many guys out there that you can certainly play there. Miles Turner's, there's just a lot of names at the center position. Dwayne Dedmon's going to be really, really popular. So that's why his ownership's going to come in low, right? But that just seems wrong. The Chimezie Metu thing is interesting because like the first 2 games under Gentry, I think he was a DNP-CD, and now like he's playing a bunch of minutes, and I guess that's going to continue. But Alvin Gentry's rotations have been all over the place, and they've had a variety of results with getting absolutely walloped multiple times. It's a disaster organization there in Sacramento. And that's one of the reasons why I assume they're like, all right, let's give Paul George a night off because it's the Kings and we don't need him. I'll just say that some of this ownership stuff is uncomfortable, Grant. On FanDuel, we're looking at 46% ownership for Marcus Morris on a 9-game slate. I understand it's a good math play. Uncomfortable. It's just uncomfortable. 26% for Ibaka, 37% for Reggie Jackson. Metu is 24%, Man at 22, all the fringe guys like Man, Bledsoe as well, Nard Dog at 19-20%, and we flip over to DK, Metu at 43%, and again, I get it, and that price is really good. He's, I agree, he's probably the best play on the Kings, like him and Holmes, but it is the Kings, and their rotations are fragile.
You said you don't like the ownership. That's understandable.
I think it's uncomfortable because of the name, yes.
Yeah, but they have the 4th highest team total on the board tonight without a single guy over 6K, and they should run a fairly tight rotation between their guys.
Coffee's lurking too, but yeah. Look, I get it. I get all that, but it's still.
I know. So you play it smartly. Like if you're assuming that Jackson doesn't do something, play Man, play Kennard, play Bledsoe. If you're assuming Morris doesn't do something, play the guys that are slightly less owned. I mean, Morris and Jackson are the 2 obvious ones. Jackson sitting at 42.5% owned. Morris sitting at 36. So if you don't think that they end up going off for you have to have them type game, then you go with Bledsoe, you go with Man, you go with Kennard. It's that simple.
And Zubac's there too, by the way. Nobody's playing Zubac. Just saying.
Yeah, don't hate it, Zubac.
I don't know how many minutes he's going to get. He's one of those guys that he's just hard to figure out, but he's a good fantasy appointment player. And if he gets like 26 minutes versus the Kings, he's interesting. Well, what do you have to add here as far as as far as this game, favorite play on each side? I do want to knock out the questions in chat as well. And I think we already kind of like hammered out. If you disagree, by all means, jump in. Say there's something that you think was wrong.
I like everything. I'm definitely going to have some Richaun Holmes and Chimezie Metu on DK. I think the prices are just a little bit too cheap. So I don't hate Davion Mitchell again, but you've got other, like I'd absolutely play Metu over him.
Questions from chat from GR Sauce. Does RG have a promo code for Underdog? I don't know if Devin dropped one in there. I don't know if we
Grinders.
Well, there you go.
I assume that's Grinders, but I don't know if they have one.
Yeah.
Try
Devin
Grinders.
Devin will drop it in chat if we happen to have it for the people. So, all right, Grant, FanDuel tournaments. Are you more high on Terrence Mann or Luke Kennard? And like both those guys.
Nard Dog.
I mean, do we love either one? Do we love them? They're both sort of like, okay.
Oh, yeah, I feel uncomfortable with the ownership on these guys. But do we really love these guys? Dean, you have to make a stand. You either want to play one of them at lower ownership or you want to play the more chalky guys. I don't know if you know this, but generally the ones you do love are at higher ownership.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but you don't have to play either one. Like, I know the question is Mann or Kennard, but I can say, you know what? I'm just going to not play either one. I can play somebody else. Like that. It's not.
So you're going to eat the chalk, or you're going to play Mann or Kennard.
What? No, I don't have to play anybody. I don't have to play Mann or Kennard or whatever.
So you're
I don't know.
assuming that the Clippers game just is entirely weird and no one ends up going out.
No. I'm not saying that necessarily, but that can't happen. Like they could all sort of like get there and nobody like fully exceeds what their points per dollar play is. They're all sort of fine, but you don't need any of them. Is all I'm saying. I'm just making the point that like.
I mean, yes, that's within the realm of possibility.
You have to have Mann or Kennard, and like, no, you don't. You don't have to have Mann or Kennard. You don't have to play their one. You can, but you don't have to. That's all.
No, you don't have to, but you don't have to do anything. I think the very high probability is that you will likely need, in order to win a tournament,
Mann or Kennard.
No, at least one or two Clippers.
Man, I love you guys. This is fantastic. Keep it going.
The fact that Morris and Jackson are incredibly high owned, Mann and Kennard offer leverage. I was hoping I could get through without that sneeze.
I thought that I wasn't watching. I thought that was Will's sneeze for some reason. All right, Will, DK question: $267 winner take all. I'm not really sure how many people are entering it, but this is just shooting for the top. Will, this is Ricky Bobby style. Give me your best value play under 4K on DK. And understand, this is a contest that's either you get first or you get nothing. I'll give you a second to think about that one as I'll throw Grant a question.
Give it to me again one more time. Sorry.
Just a winner take all contest on DK.
I got that.
Best value play under 4K.
Everybody's gonna have Metu, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh.
Doesn't mean you can't play him, but yeah.
I go Roby.
I like that answer, Grant. We're friends again.
I don't like that.
Oh,
I don't like us being friends.
Did we just become best friends? How do you feel about John Stamos?
I honestly think that's who it is. The more I'm looking at the slate, yeah. I mean, not that I haven't been looking, but just kind of going through that. I still think it's Metu. Like you might have to just take the Metu chalk and differentiate.
Chief, I know you have your prop shop. The people should know about it by now in the chat. We've been talking about it all the time. Devin will put a link there at the Discord. Doesn't cost anything. Just need to link your RG account. Doesn't have to be a premium account, just a regular RG account. Getting there for free. But give me a couple. Don't give me the whole list, obviously. Wet the whistle. Give me a couple of the guys you like tonight on Prize Picks.
Gosh, Will Barton assists at 3.5. Tyrese Maxey assists at 4. Tyrese Halliburton at 4.5. PJ Washington 1.5 3-pointers.
These are overs.
Yeah, all over so far. Daniel Gafford over 6 rebounds. Joel Embiid over 22.5 real points. I actually like Gary.
Go more. I have some more questions, but give them one more good one. They can go over their process and get the rest of them.
Yeah, and then let's go. This one's probably going to be a little different for everybody, but let's go Karis LeVert over 1.5 3-pointers.
Grant, DK tournaments. Who do we like more, Max Strus or Gabe Vincent? You don't have to play either one. This is
that's one where you, in fact, don't have to play either one. Strus is probably the answer.
Do you like KCP at 4.4K? Been playing well. I mean, this not this slate, right? Like what is his ceiling? Like, yeah, he can get the 30, sure, good for him, but I'm not playing KCP. That's a no, Grant.
Yep.
Will, DK tournaments, your favorite value, favorite spend up play. Same question for FanDuel. So Grant, give me your FanDuel question, your FanDuel answer on layaway. I want Will's DK answer on layaway. Your favorite value, favorite spend up play, Will.
Yeah, favorite spend up is Embiid. Favorite value is Metu.
What do we do if Dedmon is out? Well, he's not. So that question.
And Eric Bledsoe and Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson for what it's worth. I like all those guys.
Grant, how do we feel about Dedmon? We've seen him be super chalky and like not do great for a variety of reasons so far this year. But yeah, he's still really, really cheap. And he's historically a good fantasy point better player. No Bam, obviously.
I mean,
how do you feel about
I'm going to wait and see where ownership. If he's going to be super chalky, you don't play him.
Is okay. So like Dedmon versus Metu versus like Morris.
Morris 1, Metu 2, Dedmon 3.
Will, you have a favorite game stack tonight?
Sacramento Clippers.
Same question, Grant.
I'm going Houston OKC.
Yeah, and I think the other game that I'm going to throw in there, I'm trying to make it happen like Fetch, is that Charlotte Milwaukee game. Should be an absolute.
Well, who do you
blast.
want to play on the Charlotte side? That's the problem.
I probably only play one guy. I like Washington a little bit. I think, you know, I don't know if I want to spend up all the way up on Ball, but like sure.
Rozier.
Yeah, I just don't play. I generally focus my lineup builds for single entry, 3 entry stuff, and you know I'll throw it in the big stuff. But you know that my main lineup build is under the assumption that you know it's not a massive field. That is going to be the end of the show. Of course, you guys are premium members. You all get to see Andy Means break down whatever else news comes his way, whatever else. You know, we still have 50 minutes until lock, so shenanigans can still go down. The slate can still turn on its head once more, or turn this way or that way. I don't know how Grant did it in his head, but yeah, still 50 minutes, plenty of time for that. Do appreciate Devin with the producing, top notch as always. Grant, it was a fabulous banter day today, and I enjoyed it. Will, likewise.
Check out that fantastic.
Thanks, chat. Thank you for asking questions. Keeps it more entertaining. Thank you for interacting. Hit that like button on your way out. Do subscribe, turn on notifications, and that was basketball. That was Grant. That was Will. That was Devin. That was Dean. We're out of here. Oh.